Same rules apply as the last seminar. Is you guys got questions at that point in time, throw your hands up because it makes it easy to get that question answered at that time. So versatility of creature baits. I mean, gosh, there are 100 million creature baits out there, all the way from the missile baits Crawfather to the D-bomb, which is a beaver style bait that mostly everybody's used to a destroyer, which is obviously a bigger creature bait with a little bit more legs, kind of a brush hog style bait, to the standard missile craw, which is what I call the finesse style creature baits, does not have a lot of action. So you talk about a bait that has the most action, you're talking about the destroyer. The second most action, which would be the D-bomb. The third most action would probably be the Crawfather, which you can do a lot of swimming applications with it, to the least most action, more finesse style, being the missile craw. Different ways to rig this thing. I'm going to go kind of in the ways that a lot of people don't throw them. First of all, just having a standard Carolina rig. 3 colors for me, same thing. Black and blue, or we call it Bruiser Flash, which is that one there. Second color, green pumpkin. If you had 2 colors to choose, black and blue, green pumpkin, not one single lake in the country that you go to, a creature bait in black and blue or green pumpkin will work. There's not one lake in the country that it won't work. Every single one. Black and blue, dirty water, clear water, it don't matter. They eat that thing. Green pumpkin, the most natural color out there. And my third color, if I had to mix another one in, candy grass. Candy grass is, once again, back to my bluegill imitator. It's about the best bluegill imitator out there. It's got a watermelon back, a smoked purple bottom with candy flake in it, which is purple and green flake in it. And every once in a while, I'll get a little fancy, take a little chartreuse, dye it there, a little on each end of the tips, just enough to give it that bluegill pattern. And I'll use the D-bomb in the same color, and I'll just take just a little bit of the tails and the tentacles and put a little chartreuse on it. And every once in a while, I get real fancy, put a little on the head. That's only because I get wacky sometimes like that. The D-bomb to me is probably my first bait of choice when it comes to a quiche bait, because it is subtle enough but also has the same action it has a lot of action to it at the same time. When I won Lake Okeechobee, I was using a D-bomb on the back of a Medlock jig, which is a 1-ounce jig. I would pitch that 1-ounce jig in there, let it hit the bottom and not move it. And you could see it doing this on its own without me moving it. It already had motion to it. It already had action to it. And that's what makes it work so well. Now the destroyer, on the other hand, is a bait that has a lot more action to it, but you got to move the bait to get a lot of action to it because it wants to lay down and just sit on the bottom. Day in, day out, 95% of the time, the hook that I use out there is a straight shank hook. Reason is, the straight shank hook has the best hookup ratio out of any hook out there. I even have wobble heads poured up with a straight shank hook on it. Now the EWG is great for keeping a bait straight and holding it straight on there, but at the same time it has the worst hookup ratio out there. You can take an EWG, slide it over your hand, and it'll never hook into it. Next best hookup ratio is a standard offset. You'll see Larry Nixon, that's what he uses. The best worm fisherman, Texas rig fisherman out there, uses a regular offset. Me, I prefer a straight shank because I tie a snail knot with a straight shank hook, and it gives a cavitation when it hits the weight that always hooks them in the roof of the mouth, hooks them in the eye, hooks them straight through the bottom of the jaw, and you get a better hookup ratio. So straight shank to me on a Carolina rig, that's my hook of choice. Whether I'm throwing a small bait, then I'm using a rebarb hook from the Robo rebarb hook for small, real finesse style Carolina rig baits, up to the new jack flipping hook when I'm fishing a D-bomb, a destroyer, a big Cinco on the back of a Carolina rig.
Bass University TV, an online video training course where you'll learn champion bass fishing techniques from pro anglers Pete Gluzek, Mike Iaconelli, and their talented special guests. Watch hours of video content on multiple topics at your own pace for a low monthly fee. Cancel at any time. Subscribe today.